In a serene and picturesque landscape, shrouded in mist and the whisper of impending snow, everything seems calm and peaceful in this land. The rolling hills stretch out into the distance, blanketed in a soft cover of white, while tall trees stand sentinel, their branches swaying gently in the chilly breeze. The air is crisp and clean, carrying with it the promise of a new beginning. As the mist begins to dissipate, revealing a new scene before you, the tranquil landscape gives way to a majestic temple complex, rising proudly against the backdrop of the snow-kissed mountains. The sprawling view showcases intricate architecture that hints at the immense significance of this sacred place. Snow begins to fall gently from the sky, weaving a soft veil of tranquility and beauty over the landscape. The delicate flakes twirl and dance in the air, creating a magical ambience that enhances the grandeur of the Alliance Leader Hall. The building's facade, adorned with intricate designs and symbols of authority, glistens under the soft touch of the falling snow, adding an ethereal quality to its already awe-inspiring presence. Inside the opulent hall, adorned with banners and a regal atmosphere, we meet the central characters. Seated at the head is Alliance leader Tian Hajin, who seems to be in deep thought, sporting an impressive white beard that signals wisdom and experience. The room's silence is broken by the Alliance leader's calm statement, "It's snowing." Advisor Gal Saryang, one of his trusted people, was puzzled by his sudden comment. As the snowflakes danced gracefully from the overcast sky, each flake a unique masterpiece, escort warrior Baek Pyo stood at his post, a silent sentinel amidst the swirling white. In this serene moment, his thoughts drifted away from the duties of his station and into the warmth of his home, where he could almost hear the laughter of his child echoing in the air, a sound that filled his heart with joy and longing. He envisioned the little one bundled up in a colorful coat, cheeks flushed with excitement, as they tumbled and rolled in the snow, crafting snowmen and engaging in playful snowball fights. The advisor, observing Baek Pyo's wistful gaze, offered a knowing smile, his voice laced with understanding as he remarked, "Baek Pyo, your child will love this." Baek Pyo, smiling warmly at the thought of his child, replies, "Yes, that child is probably jumping with joy right now." The image of his little one, eyes wide with wonder and delight, fills his mind, a stark contrast to the cold and stillness surrounding him. However, the moment is interrupted. It looks like there's a small hiccup in memory. Tian Hajin inquires, "You said your child turned 3 this year, right?" Baek Pyo, with a polite correction and a hint of amusement, answers, "It's 6, sir." The leader's reaction is immediate, his eyes widening in comical disbelief. "What?" he exclaims, a hint of embarrassment creeping into his voice as he realizes he's forgotten such an important detail about his loyal warrior's family. Tian Hajin, standing nearby, wears an expression of bewilderment. He chuckles softly, shaking his head in disbelief. "Ha! Has that much time passed? I didn't realize it at all." Tian Hajin can't help but smile, his heart swelling with pride as he thinks of his growing child, the laughter and joy they bring, and the memories yet to be made. "Time really does fly, doesn't it?" he muses. Tian Hajin's contemplation is interrupted by Advisor Gal standing nearby, who informs him gently, "Sir, you also asked the same question a few days ago." Confusion flickers across Tian Hajin's face. "What?" he begins, his brow furrowing as he processes the information. The realization dawns on him, and he chuckles sheepishly, rubbing the back of his neck. Tian Hajin scratches his head, muttering to himself, "How odd. This keeps happening these days. What's wrong with me?" A flicker of concern crosses his mind, but he quickly decides to brush off the nagging thoughts. Standing up, he shakes his head with a light-hearted chuckle and remarks, at any rate, I guess I should buy Baek Pyo's child some clothes. Reflecting quietly, he adds, leaving the other people aside, Baek Pyo is a subordinate who has been with me for decades. The weight of those years presses heavily on his chest, each moment etched in the tapestry of their shared history, filled with challenges and triumphs. Anyway, he stops, allowing his mind to wander through the labyrinth of memories, but an unsettling thought interrupts his reverie. Baek Pyo's child. Was it a boy or was it a girl? With a furrowed brow, he tries to recall the fleeting moments of that day, but the memory slips, elusive and frustrating. I don't even remember the child's gender, he murmurs, his voice barely above a whisper. The advisor gal observes Tian Hajin's struggle and speaks up with concern. Sir. Are you alright? Waving off the worries, Tian Hajin responds, I'm fine. He laughed and just said, it looks like I must be getting old. But it's been bothering him. He noticed it also, him not being able to remember even the trivial things. Advisor gal shakes his head and reassures him, no, sir. You are still healthy. Nostalgia clouds Tian Hajin's eyes as he glances out the window, where snowflakes dance gently in the breeze, blanketing the landscape in a soft white hue. He sighs deeply, a lot of time has passed. Tian Hajin nods solemnly, understanding the weight of those words. He continues, it's been over 40 years. Lost in thought, he murmurs, the time I maintained the position as the world's strongest. The words hang in the air, a bittersweet acknowledgement of the relentless march of time that blurs the edges of even the most vivid recollections. Stepping out into the cold, the physical discomfort is a mere distraction from the deeper, gnawing ache within. Advisor gal, he calls, his voice cutting through the crisp morning air. Yes, sir. Advisor gal responds promptly, his tone a mix of professionalism and concern. Gal and Baek Pyo exchange glances, a flicker of worry passing between them as they sense the weight of his thoughts. Turning his back to his confidant, Tian Hajin gazes wistfully at the snow-covered scenery, the delicate flakes falling like whispers from the sky. What kind of person am I? The question hangs in the air, heavy with the weight of his introspection. As he watches the soft blanket of white enveloping the world, he feels a deep sense of disconnection, as if the purity of the landscape starkly contrasts with the complexities of his own life. Memories flood his mind, moments of triumph marred by regret, choices made in haste that still haunt him. Perplexed, Advisor gal furrows his brow, trying to decipher the layers of meaning behind Tian Hajin's words. What are you talking about? He asks, his voice tinged with concern. Tian Hajin turns slightly, a gentle smile playing on his lips, as if inviting gal into a more profound dialogue. It's just as I said. I want to hear your thoughts on what kind of person I am. The request hangs in the air, creating a moment of stillness between them, where the unspoken truths linger. Gal studies Tian Hajin's expression, searching for the depths of his inner turmoil masked by that soft smile. Caught off guard by the question, Advisor gal hesitates momentarily, weighing his words before answering with conviction, you are the greatest person in Jianghu. The sincerity in gal's voice echoes in the stillness, and Tian Hajin's eyes soften at the declaration, warmth flooding his chest. Yet, despite the praise, a shadow of doubt lingers in his heart. The greatest person in Jianghu, he muses, his brow furrowing as he grapples with the weight of such an assertion. Echoes of his past reverberate in his mind. He recalls titles that once defined him, martial god Tian Hajin, earned after marking the No Second Emperor blood spear and the 5 killing fists in battle at 39. Memories flood back of his leadership and the formation of the Muram Alliance League in his 30s. Snow crunches underfoot as he walks away, his figure slowly blending into the wintry landscape, his mind heavy with reminiscence and uncertainty. After assuming the mantle of the Alliance leader, my journey through Jianghu was anything but serene. I spent a long time fighting the unorthodox sections. Breaking the unorthodox sect's Dare Path 13 syndicate into pieces. Tian Hajin recounted, a hint of fatigue in my voice, and destroying the successor to the demonic cult, the Black Heaven Divine Cult. The weight of my words hung in the air, thick with the gravity of my actions. After years of struggle and sacrifice, my efforts had finally borne fruit, yet Tian Hajin felt a strange emptiness alongside the triumph. In the end, I achieved the long-cherished wish of the Muram Alliance, Tian Hajin continued, the pride Tian Hajin sought to express tempered by the shadows of the battles fought. That's how Tian Hajin was able to preserve Jianghu's peace. But tranquility was fleeting as new enemies emerged from within. Those who lusted for absolute power poisoned my food and sent assassins after me at night. My survival instincts kicked in. But I survived and cut down all those who dreamed of rebellion. With a grim smile, Tian Hajin recalled how my resilient spirit earned me a ferocious nickname. The Jianghu people then called me the Iron-Blooded Alliance Leader. And the Alliance Leader of Punishment for mercilessly eliminating traitors. Tian Hajin tightened my grip on my sword as Tian Hajin remembered, you are Jianghu Supreme. A new voice chimed in, validating my efforts. The very symbol of righteousness and martial arts. Their eyes sparkled with respect, a light that momentarily lifted the heaviness from my heart. Your very existence is Jianghu itself. The words wrapped around me like a warm cloak, both comforting and daunting. Tian Hajin felt the weight of their admiration, the unspoken expectation that came with it, and for a brief moment, Tian Hajin allowed myself to bask in that glow. Yet, beneath the surface, Tian Hajin wrestled with the reality of my journey, the sacrifices made, the lives entwined with mine, and the shadows that lingered from past battles. However, their observations didn't escape them. Sir, you seem different from usual. Are you perhaps feeling unwell? Concern etched their faces, and Tian Hajin forced a reassuring smile, hoping to mask the tumult within. No, I'm fine. You may go back now. My voice was firm, though a hint of weariness seeped through. Turning to another loyal companion, Tian Hajin continued, you too, Baek Pyo. Hasn't it been a few days since you went home? Baek Pyo's brow furrowed, surprise flickering across his face. There's no need to escort me today, so just go home. His loyalty was evident, but Tian Hajin could see the concern etched into the lines of his expression. Tian Hajin appreciated his steadfastness, yet Tian Hajin wanted him to take a moment for himself, to reconnect with the life waiting beyond our shared burdens. They finally relented, their expressions softening. We understand. Please have a good rest. Their words carried a warmth that reassured me, and Tian Hajin felt a wave of gratitude as they departed. As the door closed behind them, Tian Hajin couldn't help but chuckle softly, shaking my head at the contrast between their concern and my own inner turmoil. In a scene shrouded in both mystery and drama, we find ourselves looking down upon an Tian Hajin radiating wisdom and importance. With a sigh, he speaks softly, Jianghu itself, they say. His demeanor is one of acceptance, almost as if he's reflecting on a life well lived. Amidst the snow-covered ground stained with blood, another figure lies in the aftermath of what was clearly a ferocious battle. Weapons scattered around him, he chuckles weakly. Yeah. If you achieved this much after being born as a person of Jianghu, there would be nothing more to ask for, he murmurs, perhaps finding solace in his hard-earned conclusion. Wounded but resolute, he adds, I've lived a fierce life. His breath becomes labored, each exhale a testament to his struggle, a rhythm that echoes the weight of his burdens. He chuckles again, a sound laced with melancholy yet tinged with a quiet pride. Ha! Ha! The laughter, though bittersweet, carries the echoes of victories hard-won and sacrifices made. As he steadies himself, the world around him blurs, the colors dimming and the edges softening. Suddenly, a burst of tension fills the air as another person erupts with a shout. What? The unexpected noise pierces the stillness, jolting him from his moment of solitude. Pain sears through him like fire, and he staggers back, gasping, "Cook!" The sharpness of the pain radiates through his body, each pulse draining his energy and leaving him unsteady on his feet. What is, he begins, confusion mingling with agony, happening? His mind races, struggling to comprehend the sudden shift. The world tilts around him, shadows creeping closer as he grapples with the disorienting mix of emotions. A cold sweat breaks out on his brow as he fights to stay upright, his body betraying him in this moment of vulnerability. The room feels charged, an undercurrent of chaos that he cannot grasp. Panic begins to claw at his chest, intertwining with the sharp edges of his pain. His eyes wide with disbelief, he clutches his chest, feeling the frantic thrum of his heartbeat beneath his fingers. What's this all of a sudden? He demands, his voice edged with desperation, though deep down he knows that no answer will come. The room feels like it's closing in, the walls pressing against him as the weight of confusion and fear bears down. Powerless to fight it any longer, he crumples to the floor, surrendering to whatever mysterious force has overtaken him. The coolness of the ground against his skin contrasts sharply with the heat surging through his body, a cruel reminder of his vulnerability. As the scene transitions, the intense drama gives way to a quiet, unknown place. A ceiling comes into focus under muted light, its surface adorned with subtle textures that seem almost ethereal. The gentle glow casts soft shadows, creating an atmosphere of calm that contrasts sharply with the turmoil that had just unfolded. He blinks against the muted light, taking in the unfamiliar surroundings with a mix of awe and confusion. Where is this place? He asks aloud, his voice echoing softly in the stillness. The walls around him seem to breathe, alive with an energy he can't quite place. He sits up slowly, scanning the room for any clues that might explain his sudden change of scenery. Everything feels surreal, familiar yet strange, as if he has stepped into a dream. The air is thick with an almost palpable serenity, but beneath that calm lies a current of uncertainty that stirs his instincts. The smell of medicinal herbs wafted through the air, filling the room with a pungent aroma. Our MC's head began to clear as they slowly regained consciousness. Did I faint? They thought, their vision gradually coming into focus. Sitting up, a wave of realization washed over them. Advisor Gal will probably nag me for not taking better care of myself, they sighed, imagining the lecture they'd receive. They rubbed their eyes, trying to piece together what had happened, the remnants of confusion still clouding their thoughts. At any rate, for the world's strongest to faint, they murmured, feeling a mix of embarrassment and disbelief. Suddenly, dread pooled in their stomach, a cold wave of realization crashing over them. They gasped, clutching their abdomen as a surge of panic coursed through their veins. What the? They exclaimed in shock, their voice echoing in the quiet space. My dantian is completely empty. A swirl of panic engulfed them as they stared at their glowing hands, the eerie light illuminating the fear etched on their face. Chi dispersing poison, they muttered in disbelief, their mind racing to process the implications. Impossible. There is no way something like that would work on me. The very idea felt ludicrous. They had spent years fortifying their body and spirit against such threats, yet, the evidence was undeniable, and a cold dread settled in their chest. Before they could delve further into their confusion, voices interrupted their thoughts, drawing their attention. The sound of hushed conversations echoed through the space, punctuated by the low murmur of concern. "You are up," the woman standing nearby said, relief washing over their features. The voice was familiar, yet disconcertingly distant in the haze of confusion surrounding them. Another added, "Are you all right?" Their tone was filled with concern, but it was tinged with something else, curiosity, perhaps even caution. As they focused on the two figures, their minds raced to piece together the fragmented memories of what had transpired. Our MC tried to shake off the fogginess, looking up at the new arrivals, his vision still blurred around the edges. Speechless, he blinked, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. "Who are you?" he asked, their voice barely recognizable, a faint echo of the strength they usually carried. His question was met with wide eyes and an incredulous expression. "What's wrong with my voice?" he wondered out loud, touching their throat. The surprise in the room was palpable. "Did you seriously just ask me who I was?" The woman responded, eyebrow raised in astonishment. Confusion deepened as his mind struggled to connect the dots. "That's correct," our MC affirmed, tilting his head slightly in a gesture of uncertainty. "That is correct." The woman clearly annoyed by the question, but our MC doesn't notice it yet. "My dear. Please hold it in," the man said dramatically, struggling to stop the woman from pacing frantically, her hands flying up in exasperation. Her eyes sparkled with frustration, an intensity that filled the air with tension. Even begging is for forgiveness isn't enough. "But what did you just say? Who are you?" the woman demanded, her voice steady despite the anger swirling within. "Yes, please tell me," MC chimed in, equally bewildered, feeling like they'd missed an inside joke. The woman glanced around. "I'm the person who spent the whole night worrying about you without getting a wink of sleep." She tried to explain, though it didn't seem to clear things up. Sitting upright, he rubs his head, confusion and shock evident on his face. "Isn't that," he mutters, his thoughts racing. Suddenly, his mother's breaks through his haze. "I'm your mother, you unfilial brat." The woman, now we know as his mother, clearly exploded with rage. "My dear. Please hold it in." The man, we assume is his father, tried to stop his mother from bursting in anger. Bam! Out of nowhere, she lunges at him. "Is that what you say to your mother?" she yells, his father still clutching her shoulders with a vice-like grip. "Let go of me!" she cries out, struggling against his hold. As things escalate, his father's voice, calm but commanding, interrupts the chaos. "Please hold it in. It looks like he hasn't come back of his senses after losing consciousness." Rendered speechless, he wonders aloud. The mother's anger doesn't wane, instead, it spikes. "Just die instead, you ungrateful brat." Reeling from her words, our MC starts to question reality itself. "Is that a dream?" "Yeah, it must be a dream," he whispered, his voice laced with disbelief, still trying to convince himself that none of this could be real. His heart pounded in his chest as he glanced at the mirror, hoping to find some semblance of normalcy. But as his eyes locked onto his reflection, a wave of unease washed over him. The person staring back looked eerily familiar, yet different, his appearance somehow distorted, as if reality itself had shifted in ways he couldn't comprehend. Desperate to make sense of things, he stares harder at his reflection, his breath quickening as a look of shock slowly spreads across his face. His hand trembles as he reaches up to touch his jawline, tracing the unfamiliar contours of his own skin, trying to ground himself in something real. His eyes, wide with confusion and disbelief, search for any trace of normalcy. "That is, me," he whispers, his voice barely audible, as if speaking the words would somehow make this strange reality more believable. Trying to ground himself, he slaps his cheek lightly, the sting of the impact barely registering as his nerves begin to fray. A nervous chuckle escapes his lips, echoing awkwardly in the stillness. "Ha, I knew it," he says, his voice cracking slightly. "This is a dream. It has to be." But as his laughter fades, doubt creeps back in. His gaze shifts to the strange details around him, his unease growing. "Still, why am I having such a vivid dream?" he murmurs as he loses his consciousness, the question lingering in the air, unanswered. His new identity is Duan. His parents were suddenly worried when he lost his consciousness. Again. "Duan," they shout, their voice filled with urgency and a mixture of relief and panic. The sound of his name, sharp and jarring, slices through the surreal haze of his supposed dream, pulling him back to the present with an intensity that makes his chest tighten. Duan watches in bewilderment as the chaotic scene unfolds before him, unable to fully grasp the whirlwind of emotions and events. His mind races, struggling to piece together the fragments of reality and whatever this strange moment represents. The warm hues of orange and pink stretch across the sky, casting long shadows over him, as if the world itself is offering a moment of reflection amidst the confusion. But even in the beauty of the sunset, the questions linger, unanswered. Steeling himself, Duan takes a deep breath, his gaze fixed on the horizon as the last rays of the sun dip below the skyline. "I thought I would wake up as the Alliance leader," he whispers, his voice barely audible against the backdrop of the fading light. His lips press into a thin line as the realization slowly dawns on him. "But I'm not dreaming, huh?" The weight of those words settles heavily on his shoulders, determination flickers in his eyes, burning brighter with each passing second. He clenches his fists, his jaw tightening. No matter how deep you fall into a dream, there are no dreams where you wouldn't be able to distinguish between dream and reality. His voice, now resolute, carries an undeniable sense of resolve. The line between fantasy and truth may have blurred, but Duan knows, deep inside, that this is his reality, and he must face it, no matter the cost. Staring out the window, Duan contemplates his new reality, the weight of it pressing down on him like an unseen force. The fading light outside offers little comfort as the unfamiliar world stretches out before him, eerily quiet and surreal. Still, he murmurs to himself, his brow furrowing in deep thought, "There's no sign of me falling into a state of chi deviation." His words trail off as his eyes scan the unfamiliar landscape, every detail too precise, too vivid, yet utterly alien. It feels like a flawless imitation, close enough to stir memories, but hollow where it matters. He exhales slowly, frustration rising within him. How on earth did something like this happen? The question lingers in the air, unanswered, as his mind races, searching for any shred of logic in this impossible situation. Reflecting on his past experiences, he thinks, "I have experienced all kinds of unbelievable things during my 70 years of life, but reincarnation?" Turning his gaze to the surrounding room, he feels a sense of curiosity and unease. What's more? In this scene, the character is deep in thought while nursing a blend of frustration and nostalgia. "I still have all the memories of when I was Tian Hajin," he reflects silently, the weight of those memories pressing on his shoulders. Suddenly, he's interrupted by someone entering the room, carrying a tray and looking quite disappointed. "Shame on you," the visitor scolds. The reprimand is clear, sharp, and leaves no room for doubt about their feelings. They set the tray down with a bit more force than necessary, emphasizing their displeasure. "I was so disappointed yesterday," the visitor continues, echoing the tinge of regret in their voice. It's as if the previous day had been an utter fiasco, one that left a sour taste lingering. Our MC shifts uncomfortably, the blanket still over his legs, responding with a nonchalant, "I don't remember anything." It's not clear if it's genuine amnesia or just a convenient excuse, but it's enough to escalate the tension. "So it's not wrong to say that I don't remember it," he adds, attempting to deflect any further accusations. But the comeback falls flat. "You don't remember," the visitor retorts, incredulous. "This isn't going to be let go so easily. You are still the same irresponsible person, huh?" The exasperation in their voice stings. "Irresponsible person," scoffs our MC mentally, eyes narrowing. Flashbacks of his days as the Alliance leader flood his mind. "When I was the Alliance leader," he recalls the discipline, the clear expectations, "I was clear with my regards and punishment," he recalls sharply, probably more to himself. The contradiction between the past and the present gnaws at him. When faced with reality, "I didn't run away from the situation. I did not rely on the loyalty of my subordinates and always took responsibility for my duties. But now, I am the irresponsible one." The monologue continues internally, silently defending himself against the accusations. Emotion bubbles up. "You are a disgrace to this family," the visitor lands the final blow before striding out of the room. Ouch, that one hits deep. Our MC is left wide-eyed, stunned into silence, processing the harsh words. What on earth did this brat do to receive this kind of treatment right after he regains his consciousness and opened his eyes? A sudden crack breaks the tension, a bit of poor architecture taking the brunt of frustration. He flops back onto the bed with an exhausted sigh, hands pressed to his face. "How tiring," he mutters, voicing the sentiment that sums it all up. The mental whirlpool has drained him, leaving a void of weariness behind. In a quiet room, there's a MC who is still sitting in bed. As he wakes up groggily, another individual with long dark hair standing near the door notices and says with a casual tone, "Oh? You are up." Still sitting up in bed, MC turns to the standing individual, who shakes his head and starts to reminisce somewhat sternly, "What did I tell you before? Didn't I say you could never win even though I was a woman?" He gestures towards the MC, who is now fully attentive. "Your compulsive drinking." His voice trails off as he looks at the MC with a hint of exasperation. The MC, bewildered, interrupts, "Who are you again?" Unfazed by the question, he continues, "I heard about it. They said you acted like you lost your memories." "Wait, what?" The MC looks genuinely perplexed, scratching his head. The dark-haired individual remains calm, pulling a blanket tighter around his shoulders as they sit on the floor. When I see you like this, you are still full of tricks." With a soft sigh, he continues, "If only you could read the situation better that day." MC is clearly irritated because he doesn't know a thing about what is happening. From the moment he woke up and until now. "No, it's nothing," he reassures himself more than anyone else. "You are innocent." Switching to a friendlier tone, he advises, "At any rate, young master, please take this opportunity and practice martial arts in earnest." This comment catches the MC's attention. "Isn't it too much to get your ass handed to you by a woman?" he teases with a faint smile. Curious and seeking validation, the dark-haired individual leans in closer, whispering, "Let me ask you this one last time." MC tried to clear and clarify things up. "I am Guan Tu. Guan Tu. This isn't fun anymore, so please stop pretending you lost your memories." His eyes widen in dramatic emphasis. "Guan Tu." Nut's head, the MC hesitates, looking lost, patting him on the shoulder reassuringly. The other clarifies, "Of course not. It's not Nuts, but Bright. Nut's head is what you said when you tried to make fun of me." He smiles knowingly. "Why are you being like this?" Sighing, the MC says, "I really don't remember anything." A bit disbelieving, the dark-haired individual retorts, "I told you that you don't have to pretend you lost your memories right in front of me." "I am serious," the MC insists. Really, he seems to want to believe him. "Yeah. Do you remember the money I lent you before?" he asks suddenly. "No, how much was it?" the MC replies, scratching his head again. "Two taels," the answer comes back quickly. "Really?" the MC sits up straighter, curious now. The MC individual pulls out some money, offering it to him. "Do I have money on me?" "I do, here you go," he says kindly, handing over the money. The Guang Tua takes it, looking at the money and then back at him with wide eyes. "Unbelievable. It looks like you really lost your memories." There's a little chuckle in his voice, mixed with concern. "Why do you believe me all of a sudden?" the MC demands, puzzled by the abrupt change in attitude. The Guang Tua responds with a straightforward answer, "Because you are the kind of person who wouldn't pay back the money you borrowed." The MC seems taken aback, asking, "What? Don't I pay back the money I borrowed?" "Oh, who on earth is this bastard?" the MC thinks aloud, clearly flustered by the unexpected accusation. "How on earth have I lived that everyone is treating me like this?" he muses, feeling somewhat betrayed. "Where should I begin?" Guang Tua looking at him like he has a record worth of 15 years of all the bad things he has done. Diving deeper into his thoughts, he concedes, "Looks like I have done a lot of things." MC starts to recount recent events. From the most recent one, "Why did I get hurt?" "You see, Lady Song got rejected, then you started talking rubbish and were beaten by her. You got mad because of that and drank a lot of alcohol by yourself and fell into a pond," Guang Tua continues. Still can't believe what he saw on that doll. Pulling himself back to the present, the MC inquires, "Who is Lady Song?" MC, again, confused and irritated. "Hey, it's not easy to wake on another guy's body." A sense of bewilderment fills the room as the Guang Tua responds, "Who is Lady Song? You don't even remember her." Clearly still piecing things together, the MC admits, "Yeah." Further explanation ensues, revealing the identity of Lady Song. Song Hualin, Guang Tua says, emphasizing her significance, the Song clan's successor. A visual flashback offers a glimpse of the elegant Lady Song among a field of flowers. She's described vividly, "She's the most beautiful person in Shandong. Smart and strong. Although she is perfect, there's one fatal flaw about her." Intrigued, the MC queries, "A fatal weakness? What's that?" With a smirk, Guang Tua delivers the punchline, "The fact that she is your fiancé." A dramatic pause follows as the MC processes this information, clearly not expecting it. "That's her fatal weakness?" he asks, somewhat incredulous. "Yes, she has no luck with her husband. Her fatal weakness arose only because of the arranged marriage," the Guang Tua explains. crossing his arms, explaining what he thought and what happened that day. A moment of silence hangs between them before the MC hesitantly asks, "Did I hit you often?" Guang Tuo, visibly startled by the question, stammers nervously, "And no. Why are you asking me that?" In a quiet, traditional room, a man rests in bed while another stands before him, his expression a mix of irritation and amusement. The standing man breaks the silence. "My hand feels strangely itchy as I listen to you. I feel like hitting you for some reason." The MC scoffs, seemingly used to such remarks. "Ha ha ha, the relationship between you and me is even stronger than an arranged marriage, young master." He smirks, provoking the other. "Really?" MC leans closer, his eyes narrowing. With a blunt honesty that could cut through steel, he declares, "You are a disgrace to the family." He remember what happened earlier when the old man went in to serve his needs. Unfazed, the man in bed responds, "What about the accident before that?" Guang Tuo's voice drips with sarcasm as he continues, "You lost a lot of money due to gambling and one of the courtesans you fell in love with." MC rolls his eyes, clearly exasperated. "Drinking and gambling right now, how shameful. You didn't even come home saying you didn't want to practice martial arts. Making a fuss saying you wanted to make a name for yourself in Jianghu." With a sharp tone, Tanghua interrupts, "Enough." He mutters under his breath, he remembers the parents of original Duan, this kind of bastard only got slapped once in the back of his he's by his mother. "If I were her, I would have beaten him to almost death," he offers, but remembers that the body now belongs to him. "Guang Tu, to you, what kind of person I am?" Feigning innocence, Guang Tu asks, "Can I be honest?" MC looks intrigued, "Of course. Tell me." "This is your chance," the MC starts dramatically, pausing for effect. "You are trash." The room falls silent. The accusation hangs in the air. MC's eyes widen slightly, then a small, amused smile tugs at his lips. "Trash, huh, but you are Jianghu itself," the MC continues, a cryptic smile forming. A moment passes where silence reigns supreme. Reflecting on his words, he finally speaks again, softer this time, "Looks like I really died and came back to life." A grin forms on his face, suggesting a brewing determination and an enigmatic plan. In a picturesque courtyard with radiant blue skies and lush green mountains as the backdrop, our scene unfolds. The serenity of this setting contrasts sharply with the inner turmoil of the MC, the man of the young man that I reincarnated as is by Leiden, the young leader of THR by swordsman family of Shandong. MC narrates, echoing through the courtyard's peaceful ambience. We are drawn to a young man seated pensively, his hands resting on a sturdy wooden beam. Not only his interpersonal relationship, his martial arts skills were also poor, the MC voice reveals, emphasizing his disappointment, and although he was a 20-year-old descendant of a swordman family, he only had 5 years of experience in his chi center. MC has a loss for words, he doesn't even know where to begin on how he would train a body like this. However, he still has an eye for someone. The only useful thing I have is a servant who has served me since we were young. This busybody called Guang Tu. Another young man appearing just as Sirius enters the scene, engaging in casual conversation. Guang Tu asks Guang Tu, "Did you hear any rumors?" "What rumors?" comes the curious reply. "Whether a treasure map of a former master or a two-headed spirit creature has appeared," the first young man lists excitedly. With a tone of suspense he leans in, or Guang Tu's retort is sharp, cutting short any excitement. "If the alliance leader has died." A long pause follows as they both ponder the gravity of this statement. "No," Guang Tu finally states firmly. "Why would the healthy alliance leader die?" The young clan leader looks down, thoughts brewing. "A few days have passed since I reincarnated. There should be a rumor that I, the alliance leader, had died, but what's going on inside?" His emotions bubble up, asking himself silently, "Are they hiding my death? Worry fills his mind because Jianghu will be greatly impacted if the death of the Murim Alliance leader was known, but Guang Tu still there shifts the topic lightly. Come to think of it, there's a rumor regarding young master. What rumor? Asks the MC somewhat baffled. A rumor that you lose your mind after being beaten up by Miss Song. Guang Tu shares with a cheeky grin. He says like he has no regard or not even an ounce of concern to his young master. How cold. The young clan leader laughs heartily. That's the reason why I got hurt. I was so embarrassed when I heard that story. The young leader chuckles, realizing the frivolity. Right, is Miss Song that pretty to the point that you lose your mind and rush to her only to get beaten? MC adds mockingly. As laughter fills the room, Guang Tu continues, yes, it hasn't been long since she returned, but rumors about her being the best beauty of the East have already been rampant. With a reminiscing smile as if he remembered her, the leader nods. Guang Tu adds, don't you remember how people like us used to take a look at Miss Song's beauty? In a tranquil setting, two young martial artists sit on the edge of a rooftop. The atmosphere is calm as one of them starts reminiscing. He says, I don't remember. A flashback kicks in, his voice narrating his past experiences with a hint of nostalgia. I've dated a lot of women in my past life. He reveals there was even one of the four beauties of the Central Plains. And also one who was the greatest beauty in the world at that time. Here his voice takes on a somber tone, but I couldn't share true love with any of those women. He looks back at the decisions he made and realized that his world only revolved on being the alliance leader. A scene transitions to him looking introspective. It's because I became too big of a master at a young age. He continues, those women treated me as Tian Hajin, the greatest master in the world, rather than just Tian Hajin, a man. Remembering back then, he knew that those people were just only after his power. To me, the sword was my only lover. Jumping back to the present, MC expresses disbelief at how deeply the sword seems to be ingrained in his identity. Unaware, Guang Tua said, even if you got beaten by it, you still want to meet Miss Song, don't you? I understand. The young master teases him, trying to change the subject or perhaps deflect from Guang Tuo's teasing. He replies, forget it. Forget what? Guang Tua asks, still curious. Forget about Miss Song, the best beauty of Shangdan or whatever, and just bring me a sword, he declares with determination. Why a sword? All of a sudden comes the puzzled response. Why, you ask? Is there a reason why a martial artist is looking for a sword? MC's face shows a tinge of impatience mixed with a sarcastic undertone. Guang Tuo looks at him puzzled. You must have really lost your memories, he muses aloud, trying to convince him. MC insists, I'm telling you I did. With a doubtful look on Guang Tuo's face, he still did what he was told. I searched for it for a while. He gives the sword to the MC. It was shoved in the warehouse. MC looked at it intently as if it was an old friend who he sees after a long time. With a glint of excitement, he pulls out the sword, the blade glistening in the light. This is my first time holding a sword in a while, he admits. Ever since reaching the peak, there was no enemy worthy to wield this sword for. As he gazes at the sword in his hands, a content smile spreads across his face. It's clear that the bond between him and his weapon runs deep, a testament to his unyielding commitment to his martial arts path. In a world of martial arts and mystical powers, our tale begins with a character reminiscing about their past failures. They recall, but I failed to reach the mental sword realm when I was called the martial god, a state where one can freely use an invisible sword created by the mind. And what is know to have nothing in the world that cannot be cut by it. With a dramatic flair they continue, now that I'm reborn, I'd like to tread the path I didn't in my past life. Cue epic lightning effects as they harness the power of their mystical sword. You can almost hear the electric crackle. Enter the faithful Guang Tua, who seems a bit concerned for the MC's intentions. With a worried expression he asks, young master, you're not trying to take revenge on Miss Song using this sword, are you? Our MC's reaction priceless, almost like they've caught him red-handed. What? You must not do that. The Guang Tua persists, clearly not swayed by the intense martial arts vibes in the air. What are you on about? The MC looks contemplative, perhaps sensing the seriousness of the situation. Judging by his face, he's not joking. The MC muses, silently realizing the gravity of the moment. As our MC grapples with the stern advice, they ponder internally, I just can't get a grasp of what kind of person the original owner of this body was. The woes of reincarnation. Then enters another character donned in pink robes and armed with skepticism. Is that really the reason? They ask, a raised eyebrow practically audible in their tone. With a cool demeanor the MC fell silent but showed respect to his mother. But you can feel the tension building. The skeptical character welcomes a new arrival. My lady, welcome. Enter the lady in question, exuding grace and curiosity. I asked if you're really trying to harm Wayne, she says, cutting straight to the chase. But the MC isn't swayed. That's not the reason. But why are you holding that sword? His mother was skeptical until now. It shows how much a pain the original Duan is. How much has any not held a sword that I have to hear this just for holding one MC thought as he sighs in resignation he can't believe what the owner of the original body has been living his life. I'm going to train in martial arts seriously from now on, they declare with newfound determination. Skepticism still looms as his mother retorts, you train in martial arts, lies ridiculously until the end, considering how you're trying to lie you must be thinking of doing something bad. She continued to lecture his son but he cut her off. Our MC undeterred responds with a surprising touch of vulnerability. Mother, they addressed the lady. Adding weight to the conversation, I don't know what I'll do with this sword in the future. This declaration seems to hang in the air, holding his sword with determination gleaming in his eyes. But at least I will never stab my fiancée with this sword, he declares passionately as if taking an oath against treachery and dishonor. He continues with a slightly softer tone but remains resolute, nor will I use it to persecute those weaker than me. A pause follows and a worried figure listens intently, sweat trickling down their forehead, clearly anxious about the conversation's direction. His mother was confused on what to feel. She was surprised because she never heard his son talk like that before, but also feel his sincerity. The warrior's next words tumble out with unwavering commitment, only crazy about martial arts and looking after Murim that I couldn't even start a family. Deep inside he contemplates, I don't know why I'm reincarnated in by Leiden's body, but while I'm at it I'll live thoroughly as I wish. Returning to the present he reassures, a soft sincere smile playing on his lips, please do not worry, mother. There is silence but it's filled with an unspoken understanding. The figure nods, perhaps gathering their thoughts as they gaze into the distance. The scene shows a traditional house nestled amidst mountains. A gentle breeze rustles through the trees hinting at peace and tranquility. A few days have passed since the heartfelt conversation. Inside a room, MC sits cross-legged deep in meditation, his eyes closed he focuses intensely, drawing upon an inner power. A faint glow surrounds him, growing brighter and more vibrant with each passing moment. Suddenly the energy around him bursts forth in a dazzling display of light and power. He channels his focus and the glow intensifies, wrapping around him like a protective aura. Symbols and characters swirl around him, infusing the atmosphere with an almost tangible force. With a final surge of power he lets out a powerful cry and the energy culminates in a spectacular explosion, shaking the very foundations of the room. The spectacle ends with him sitting calmly once again, exhaling deeply, his face illuminated by a serene, contented glow. He sighs, feeling the weight of his training lift off his shoulders. Amidst the swirling remnants of his power he stands confidently, having grown stronger and more resolute, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. In a room bathed in soft light a character is seated cross-legged on the floor, brimming with confidence. I changed 5 years of poor internal arts into 5 years of pure internal arts, he declares with pride, his focus intense. The man's brow furrows in concentration as if he's channeling an immense power within himself. As long as one is conscious, the heavenly martial circulation mind art is the best mental art in THR world that allows you to perform chi breathing control, he muses, reinforcing his belief in his transformation. He stands tall and resolute, casting a determined gaze out the window. From now on I shall increase my internal art and stamina with this heavenly martial circulation mind art. Suddenly a sense of urgency disrupts his calm. A loud bang echoes through the room as Guang Tua bursts in, breathless and panicked. There's a big problem, he yells. This abrupt announcement piques the MC's interest and he smirks slightly, sensing the gravity of the moment. The time has finally come, he murmurs, almost relishing in the impending chaos. Did the alliance leader die, he inquires, curiosity mingling with a hint of excitement. Guang Tua looks exasperated, throwing his hands up in frustration. What are you talking about? Why would the alliance leader suddenly die? He snaps back, incredulous at the assumption. He announced the arrival of someone important. Clan leader Song is here, he says. MC's expression shifts from curiosity to confusion as he asks, who's that? Trying to convey the severity of the situation, Guang Tua emphasizes, because Miss Song's with him too. This statement catches MC's attention. Outside the atmosphere is charged. The MC, appearing slightly annoyed, walks ahead with purpose. Young master, you know that you mustn't make any trouble this time, right? Guang Tua calls out from behind. There's a moment of acknowledgement as the MC replies, I know you absolutely must apologize respectfully, you understand, right? He presses, attempting to drill some caution into the MC's head. In response he waves his hand dismissively, I got it. As they approach the gathering crowd someone spots them and greets, you're here. The scene is set for an intense encounter with the promise of intrigue and drama hanging in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. A young elegant lady standing proudly, she is introduced with a flourish, successor of the Song family Song Hualin. The MC can't help but admire her, whispering to themselves, she's much prettier than I thought. MC watches her closely, thinking so there was a reason why that body lost his mind. MC steps forward and the atmosphere stiffens as he begins speaking. It's been a long time, have you been well? From above we see the gathering, a mix of attendees standing in formation. Someone responds to Hualin, yeah, we've been well. The character clan leader Song was introduces as Song Yujing MC, who apologizes saying I'm sorry about the incident. Suddenly Hualin winces and raises her hand, cutting him off. Hualin. Clan leader Song saw it as disrespect to the MC, reprimanded Hualin. Hey, you can stop, my son was the one in the wrong, so you shouldn't blame Hualin, remarks MC's father, trying to ease the tension. Song Yujing calms down Hualin, realizing it's time to broach a more pressing subject. With determination she announces, now that we're here together there's something I'd like to talk about. Everyone leans in, curiosity piqued. MC's father, poised and composed, looks at her directly and questions, right, what is it? Hualin takes a deep breath and blurts out, please cancel our arranged marriage. The world seems to stand still for a moment. Gasps fill the air, the shock is palpable from the expressions. It's clear that this announcement was wholly unexpected. What are you saying all of a sudden? Clan leader Song shouted at anger at Hualin. He didn't expect this from her, his shock and disappointment evident on him. Hualin stares back unfazed but curious, asking, isn't it an arranged marriage? Her calm voice contrasts with the chaotic energy around her. She continues, I'm well aware of my rudeness, but I do think I have the right to choose my own husband. Her words echo powerfully, leaving everyone in stunned silence. The final panels zoom in on various stunned and bewildered faces, ending poignantly on the MC. He sweats nervously, a single bead rolling down his cheek as he processes the unfolding drama. On a crisp morning under a clear sky we find ourselves at a large traditional estate. Three figures dressed in elegant robes stand in the courtyard. The atmosphere is tense. I'm really sorry to both of you, says Hualin, bowing deeply. Her voice carries a note of sincerity and urgency. I'm well aware that you've been treating me with your own daughter, she says as she is embarrassed but cannot force herself to marry someone she doesn't want, but I have no plans to get married to young Master Bai at all. What's with this rudeness? Clan leader Song is furious with Hualin and he has no intention of hiding it. Clearly displeased, steps forward. Is this how you notify someone who cared for you like their own daughter that you are breaking off your engagement? On top of that, without discussing anything with me as you pleased? Clan leader Song, still disappointed and cannot contain his anger. Father. Hualin begins, but he interrupts her vehemently. How could you look down on them and me? Clan leader Song felt that Hualin embarrassed her in front of the MC's parents, one of the powerful families. Hualin cannot say anything because partly what she did was wrong. She decides for herself, but she could say it to her father first, so he is not surprised about her announcement. Another man observing the turmoil speaks gently, Wookyoung, calm down, she must have her own thoughts. His attempt to pacify the situation seems futile as the tension in the air thickens. Even so, the clan leader Song grumbles. Suddenly the MC, who has been quiet until now, steps forward, his eyes lock with hers. I'd like to cancel the engagement too, just like what Miss Song has said. His words cause an uproar, faces turn towards him in disbelief. The woman's eyes widen, is all she can manage. Even their parents were surprised because they know how much MC likes Hualin, and with the recent event that happens where he got drunk because Hualin defeated him just proves how much he likes her, but that only applies to the original owner of the body. Clan leader Song with a hint of sorrow but resolve continues, I'd like to apologize, so don't take it too deep to heart. He thought that MC was saying this because he was hurt by what happened a few nights before. I was the one at fault in the first place, but he's even apologizing. He pauses, sighing, the original owner of this body may have been an asshole, but he has good people around him. It's not because I'm hurt, MC assured them as his father. Hualin and clan leader Song cast him a worried and shocked glance. Then why? Clan leader Song whispers, confused. I'd like to get engaged with the woman I want. He admits, MC's tone firmer now. His priority isn't to be wed to another woman but rather to train and achieve the skills that he couldn't achieve when he was still the alliance leader. Hualin stands silent, digesting his words. The air is heavy with the weight of their declarations. The MC's parents thought hard on what to say, but this is the first time that MC acts like a righteous man. Right, if that's what the two of you wish, let's do that. The MC's father concedes, hoping for peace. But the clan leader Song isn't having it. What's up with you now? He yells, incredulous. No, we can never cancel the engagement. His voice echoes through the courtyard, leaving everyone in stunned silence. In MC's father with an air of authority declares, as Hualin said we can't be the ones to decide on her future. Clan leader Song is less than thrilled with this assertion as evident by his vehement response, I told you we can't, and quickly adds, we'll leave for today. As they start to part ways Hualin catches a slight change in demeanor and asks pointedly, why did you change your mind? MC joked and the response comes, your punch hurt too much, the timeless power of a well-timed punch. Sometimes words aren't enough. Hualin looks at the MC with doubt. She's not used to the way he acts now, not knowing that a different person is inside the young master's body. As Hualin and her father left, MC's parents confronted the MC, what are you really planning to do? His mother asked. MC says, carrying a somber tone, says, I'm sorry to say this but I have no plans of getting engaged. I have something to do for the time being too. His mother looks puzzled and asks, then why did you visit Hualin and make all that fuss if you had no plans of getting engaged? A sincere apology from our MC follows, I apologize. He thought, I have nothing to say since whatever happened before I entered this body. Clearly still not satisfied, his mother continues, then what is it that you want to do for the time being? His gentle father is visibly worried too. With determination shining in the MC's eyes, the reply is resolute, I'm planning to train in martial arts as I've said before too. You are being serious? Comes the surprised query of his mother, clearly skeptical when he first mentioned it, but she may believe him now. An affirmative nod followed by a simple, I was. His mother is still contemplative. She's caught off guard on the things her son said. Unsettled, she struggles with her thoughts and finds herself unable to retort immediately. The sincerity in her reflection is palpable. To break the tension, his father suavely suggests, let's go now. It's been a while since we've had a drink together in private, but the suggestion is met with his mother's confusion. Pardon? What are you saying all of a sudden? With a smile that speaks volumes he justifies, our son is saying that, so shouldn't we have a congratulatory drink with the two of us? His father's smile is a smile he can't forget. It holds his father's newfound trust on him and happiness because finally the trash of the family is starting to get on his feet. But still, his mother still wants to press the issue, but his father tries to convince with a gentle yet persuasive tone, now, let's go. Amidst the departure, another introspective monologue takes place. Our stoic hero, visibly more vulnerable, muses to himself, every time I feel the gaze of these two people my heart aches. They worry about and believe in this asshole that much. He tries to reason with himself, but the emotions run deep. There's a part of me that fears that a family would make me weak. The internal struggle is real, and while the martial artist battles his own demons, he remains poised between strength and vulnerability. In a quaint courtyard filled with the soft rustle of leaves, we find our MC deep in thought. I worry that once I grow older the emotion called love will make me get weaker, he ponders aloud, his voice carrying the weight of contemplation, because I won't be able to act harshly when needed. A short distance away, MC's parents exchange knowing glances. Curiosity piqued, MC observe him from afar. Our MC starts his training, but it's clear he's not having an easy time. Hunched over, panting heavily, he muses to himself, haha. To think my stamina would hit rock bottom without using internal arts. Determined, he pushes forward, gritting his teeth. Even if the fatigue is starting to creep on him, he doesn't give up. 12 li of running without using internal arts to raise my stamina. My stamina is too bad, he considers with a hint of resolve, but if I keep going like this there will be a change. He's motivated even if his current state suggests he's ready for a nap. Comes a surprised response from someone inside, turning to face him with wide eyes. The person before him glows with a delicate aura, colors resembling cherry blossoms swirling around. I didn't come here because I wanted to, so don't misunderstand, she announces, plainly dispelling any romantic assumptions. What a mood setter. Father just sent me here to apologize, Hualin adds, I won't misunderstand. MC replies curtly, keeping his cool. She regards him with a mixture of recollection and challenge. Do you remember what you said while you were drunk that day? Her question pierces through his thoughts like an arrow. He racks his brain trying to recall the fateful words. She smirks, let's see how long that good-looking face lasts. Don't act proud because it will become wrinkled when I get older. Goodness, this bastard said all sorts of things. MC can feel the secondhand embarrassment from within. He didn't do it but he feel guilty. I apologize once again for what happened that day, he offers. At this point it's clear there's more depth to their relationship than meets the eye, maybe a tangled web of pride and feelings they're both trying to navigate. You're right, Hualin agrees in our MC's shock. He breaks the silence. Right now everyone compliments my looks, but when time passes no one will even look at me. He pauses thoughtfully. I'd like to make a name for myself for my skills and not my looks. With a sigh he admits, aside from that the biggest reason for me to cancel the engagement is because I dislike you. He seems to get it. Ah, right, I get what you mean. There's a beat of silence before he drops another bombshell. Did you agree to cancel the engagement because it hurt your pride? His eyes widen, taken aback by her directness. Huh. A sly smile curled on his lips as he flicked a strand of hair away from his face and said, think all you want, that's right. These are the emotions that come up when you're 20 dating and breaking up due to people crying and laughing, he reminisced, and that's why the owner of this body made more fuss. With a confident yet solemn expression the first person responded, you don't need to worry, I have no thoughts of changing my mind on canceling the engagement. A ripple of shock passed through the companion who was momentarily lost for words, then steeling himself he whispered. The MC turned away slowly, their steps measured and calm. From now on, he declared, I won't be a hindrance in your life. Each step echoed as he walked away, leaving a stunned silence behind. He continued his journey, thoughts swarming his mind, his gaze turned distant as he reflected, my 20s and my previous life were bloody, going around killing evildoers in the Central Plains with a sword for practical training. My youth has not been filled with a shining blue color, but only white and blood. Images of battles flashed in his memory, a montage of fierce encounters and cold steel. He sighed deeply, back then I lived too hard. His pace unconsciously quickened until he suddenly stopped. The world around him felt alien, unfamiliar. His surroundings shifted dramatically. Now he was in the midst of a snowy landscape, the air crisp and clear. With each step the snow crunched beneath his feet, the chill biting but invigorating. Soul-chasing Asura sword arts, he intoned firmly, his hands moving deftly to draw his sword. The blade gleamed in the sunlight, a reflection of his newfound resolve. He began practicing the sword, slicing through the air with lethal precision. With this sword art, he trailed off, a quiet confidence settling around him like a cloak in the dead of winter. Our MC descends from the heavens looking ever so fierce and determined. He charges forward with unmatched agility, swiftly and effortlessly defeating a group of adversaries with smooth, calculated movements. I tore apart the hearts of the 13 leaders of the Dark Path 13 Syndicate. He recalls his blade dancing through the air. His hair flows wildly as he prepares for the next strike, his eyes filled with memories and suppressed rage as he continues plunging deeper into the horde of enemies that appear before him, their grotesque forms recoiling from his attacks. Cut the head of the Blood Heaven Divine cult leader, he declares, dispatching foes left and right, his prowess undeniable, and rose as the best in the world. Just as the battle seems never-ending, he takes a deep breath and unleashes a powerful attack, causing an overwhelming explosion of energy and snow. With determination in his eyes he launches his final attack. As the snow settles, the snow lay defeated in silence around him, forming an eerie, quiet battlefield. Our MC stands alone amidst the carnage, catching his breath and reflecting on his past. The MC stand while contemplating the power still surging around him, waiting for the moment to settle down. Using martial arts is much easier than I thought, he muses aloud, his breath visible in the cold air. He glances at his hands and body, astonished by his own capabilities. Was he talented in martial arts? By Leiden, you have this kind of body, he remarks, half amazed, half questioning. He lowers his gaze, a contemplative expression on his face. Yet you lived like an asshole like that, he says incredulously, a hint of bitterness in his voice. And with that reflective thought hanging in the frosty air, the scene concludes, leaving our warrior poised for whatever challenges lie ahead.